Ladies, gentlemen, and genetic anomalies, what is happening? I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. And if not, I hope that today's stream makes your day at least a little bit better. Today, we actually don't have a whole lot of things to talk about because my time is short. I do want to make sure that I get to XDEFIANT. It's been way too long since I've played that game. However, we do have some things that we're going to go over. I'm going to go over some comments that I've gotten on YouTube recently. I'm going to go over some stuff that's been happening on my Discord server. I also do want to talk about those leaked chats on Signal. That was a huge deal. So we'll be getting into that as well. But then, yeah, after that, we'll be hopping onto XDEFIANT. Things may run a little bit over, but at the end of the day, you know, we're only going to have XDEFIANT for a little while longer. So there is that. Although, after XDEFIANT, I might switch over to Siege X. Siege X seems like a pretty fine substitute for XDEFIANT. So I am looking forward to checking that out. I hear that at least the multiplayer is going to be like free to play. So looking forward to that. But yeah, hold on. Let me pull this up. I actually may cut off the music here in a second, because I do want to get to everything that we need to get to. Hold on. There we go. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I wanted to talk about this. Now I've got to go to the right section on my Discord server. But like, okay, here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing that my Discord server has a bit of a misinformation problem, and this is part of this, of course, makes sense, because if you get ideologically captured to the point where you're only getting input from like certain places, like certain personalities, certain news organizations, that you sort of like extremely curate your news media diet to like a very, very limited stream, then you're going to get a very select set of facts and information. So I do, you know, that's one thing to keep in mind when you're trying to stay up to date with everything that's going on in the world. It's like, okay, am I having like a broad perspective? Am I getting my information from a wide variety of sources, to the point where, and the reason why that's valuable, by the way, is because if you have like a very, very narrow select source of information, then let's say one or two or three of those sources are bad or are biased, either intentionally or unintentionally, because sometimes people get facts wrong on purpose, sometimes people get facts wrong on accident. You know, it just happens. People are human. So let's say you only get like your information from a very few amount of sources. Then if they're like, hey, you know, this thing that Trump did that was actually good, you know, we don't like that people might think that it's good, so we're not going to say anything about that. Or on the right, of course, there might be a moment where Trump says or does something bad that they ignore because they don't want to make their viewers question their loyalty to Donald Trump. This is something that I believe Ground News, I want to say, would refer to as a blind spot for particular ideology. So that'd be like a right-wing blind spot would be Trump doing something bad. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And I think that's one reason why we're seeing what's happening in my Discord server happening right now, is just some people only getting the information from certain sources, like David Pakman, for example. But there's also another thing that I'm noticing, which is like, and this sort of came to a head because it's very, very funny. So what's his name? Seymour or whatever? Yeah, Seymour. You can always rely on this dude to only say like negative things about Donald Trump. If Donald Trump does something like positive, it'll never be acknowledged. It was very funny because he was one of the main progenitors in the server of the whole like egg prices situation, right? The whole egg prices thing, because right, he was all whining about the egg prices. So I went and talked about it on the stream, and it was fair, some of the critiques he was making, right? It's like, oh, the egg prices aren't going down, but he was acting very concerned about the egg prices until the egg prices came up, and then he had nothing much to say. Right, so he is one character who's been saying these types of things about my Discord server, but I noticed this a lot more obviously or starkly when he made this post here. It wasn't today, it was yesterday, but he made this, he posted this picture from Snapchat, which is cancer, by the way. And this is a fake news headline from Bad News Daily. Everything about that sentence is hilarious to me. It's like, okay, you're getting your news from Snapchat from a source called Bad News Daily with an extremely hyperbolic title. Not even sharing any information, by the way, just the picture. It just says Trump's new law ends Democratic elections forever. And I was like, I wonder why people feel comfortable posting blatant misinformation about this. And I do, because there is no law that Trump has put into place that will end Democratic elections forever. Now, I want to say he posted a link to the Snapchat story, and we can actually react to this here. Which window should we pull this up on? Right here. Okay. This is the Snapchat story that he's referring to. And the first thing I want to point out is that I watched this video, or part of this video already, pre-watching. The video doesn't even say what the headline is. So the headline is Trump's new law ends Democratic elections forever. That's the claim, right? But if you go here, it's not the claim in the video is not going to be like that. Okay, Trump wants to run for a third term in 2028. I've heard some stuff about that. He said that he wants to do it. He hasn't like necessarily pushed super hard for that. But again, not a claim that's in the picture that he shared. But the second choice, let's see, wait, hold on. This is not, hold on, this is oh, here it is. Wrong video. It played the wrong video, hold on. Okay, here we go. So, Trump's new law ends Democratic elections forever. This is the claim, okay? Now, you'll be surprised to find that the facts don't back up the argument here that's made in the headline. But it says, President Trump just signed an executive order on elections. But critics say it's a thinly veiled attempt at blocking legal Americans from voting. Very interesting to hear the complaints about the critics. That's not the real issue that the critics have, by the way. I find it interesting that they often complain about that, but the bar to entry for voting legally is very, very low, actually. If you can get a driver's license, right, that's a valid ID that one could then use to go vote. People arguing for, people who want to make it difficult to check whether or not someone can legally vote before they go to the polls, because that's what most of the critics here would be upset about. They're upset. They're checking to see whether or not someone is voting legally or not. That just allows an underbelly of election fraud to occur, and that's what they want to preserve, right? Because if these critics were kind of more genuine, right, they would want you to like change the system in a way that, for example, allows legal Americans to have an easier path to having a photo ID that they could then present at a polling booth, for example. But no, that's not their primary goal there. This would prevent only a tiny amount of non-citizen voter registration. But I mean, if you can get like a driver's license and have an ID, and especially if you're paying taxes, you should be able to vote. I would say, right? There's a difference between non-citizens and illegal immigrants as well. I don't think that illegal immigrants would necessarily qualify to be able to get the type of ID that you would need under this. It's not even legislation; it's an executive order. But it would stop millions of eligible voters. How would it stop millions of eligible voters? They're not going to get to that, I doubt. I doubt they would get to that. Okay, here it is. The order requires voters to show proof of citizenship to register. Okay. Like passport or birth certificate that many Americans don't have readily available. But you should, and if you don't, that's your fault. If you don't have your birth certificate, something is terribly wrong. Something has gone wrong, and you need to rectify that immediately, because you don't need a birth certificate just to be able to vote. You need a birth certificate for not all sorts of things, but for some very important things, you do need your birth certificate. So if you don't have your birth certificate, that's not Trump's fault. It also says mail ballots should be received by election day. Okay, that's fair. The Attorney General shall take appropriate actions against states. Oh, okay, that's cool. That count ballots received after election day. Nice. Dude, this is goated. This is goated. So you know what this means, right? This means like no more like 7-day election cycles, right? No more counting votes 14 days after election day. This is good news. And it's kind of disheartening now that we're so polarized that it's like the Trump haters are now willing to oppose this, which I think is an objectively good legislation, just because Trump is supporting it, or because they perceive it as something that will hurt their chances in elections. Because Democrats aren't looking at this law, and actually the false claim in this video actually is saying, what was the false claim? It will end democratic elections forever. So this is literally out of self-interest. This is literally out of self-interest. It's not them saying, oh, this is going to, harm the ability for legal Americans to vote. No, and they're actually tipping their hand there. The real complaint is that it will harm their chances of winning future elections. Oh, hold on. Stupid thing. It sent me back to the beginning of the video and I can't fast forward. So we have to sit through all this. See, this is another reason why Snapchat is cancer. Imagine you're getting news from Snapchat. Okay. Yes, we went through all this already. Actions against states that count ballots received after election day. Okay, cool, awesome, based. 18 states currently allow ballots received after election day to be counted, as long as they are postmarked by election day, which also I understand why you would have that rule. If it's postmarked by a particular day, then it's not like you're counting legitimately late votes. The benefit, though, of Trump's policy is that you don't, the vote tallying doesn't just linger and last like forever and ever, which is another benefit. Trump claims the moves are needed to prevent fraud. Despite no evidence of voter fraud in U.S. election. Okay. Yo. Okay. Hold on. Wait. And this hold on, wait. Do you need evidence that there's been widespread voter fraud to take measures against it? No. And this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is like saying, okay, I know that you have plans to go out and get yourself some pepper spray, right? Because you want to be able to defend yourself in case someone attacks you. But there's no evidence that anyone would ever attack you. You've gone out into public many times and you've never been physically harmed. There is no proof that you will ever be attacked in the future. So you are not allowed to go get the pepper spray. Like, I will not let you buy this pepper spray. I will literally do what's it called? What's the illegal imprisonment or whatever, in order to prevent you from doing this. You absolutely must not get the pepper spray because there is no evidence that you would ever get attacked physically. That, you can take preventative measures against things that don't happen in a widespread fashion. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And this is probably the weakest argument you could say too. It's there's no evidence that there's widespread voter fraud, so we shouldn't take measures against voter fraud. Now they're citing Jasmine Crockett. I mean, hey, good for them, right? Anything that pushes Jasmine Crockett to the forefront of the left-wing political mind. But it says here, this ain't about security, it's suppression. Suppression. Okay. I'll just leave that alone. The order threatens to pull federal election funding from states that don't comply. Oh, okay, that's cool. Putting major financial pressure on them to fall in line. Nice. Trump is trying to make it harder for voters to fight back in the ballot box. Okay, buddy. Okay, grandma, back to bed, I think is what you would say, right? The legal challenges to the order are already being prepared. I don't know how those are, as critics say, it oversteps the president's constitutional authority. I'm curious as to what those arguments are genuinely. I'm not even sure what those would be. Because if you make a policy that says, hey, you know, comply with the law or else we're going to withhold funding from you, I don't see any way that that's unconstitutional. It'd be the same way as if like Trump was to say, any state that's a sanctuary state, we will no longer give you any federal funding at all. That would also be a constitutional thing to do. It's very interesting. I do wonder, because if there are legal steps being taken, there have to be legitimate, or at least at the very least, like surface level, even if disingenuous, legal arguments that are being brought to the forefront here. Is this the beginning of the end of free America? I'm sorry. But also, Bad News Daily. Okay, very interesting. Oh, they got the Oscar winner story on here, which I actually plan on covering at some point. Very cool. But like, I just saw this and I was shocked that like just blatant misinformation would be spread like that on Snapchat, and they would feel like they wouldn't get any repercussions or they wouldn't be called out for this. Now, maybe they're just sort of assuming that folks like Seymour are just gonna see this headline, assume that it's true, and then just like run with that. Now, maybe I give Gen Alpha too much credit, right? Maybe Seymour is probably the example of the typical Snapchat news consumer. And this is how people of Gen Alpha are consuming and accepting the news, right? There was also this one right here: Trump running for president in 2028 says Republicans. At least this headline is like factually accurate. Like, say Republicans is true, because at least like Steve Bannon has said that Trump is going to be president. There probably been like some MAGA cultists who have been saying that Trump is going to be our president in 2023, probably even in previous conventions. They did share this one right here. It says Trump, it says he's not joking about seeking a third term. But if we go to that, let's see. I think I had to put this through the archive.is meat grinder because it's paywalled. But Trump says he's not joking about seeking a third term in defiance of the Constitution. Trump did not rule out seeking a third term in office on Sunday, telling NBC News he was not joking about the possibility and suggesting there were methods to circumvent the 2-term limit laid out in the Constitution. Now, if you want to, the actual interview, as far as I can understand, was not actually posted online or even recorded. So this is as close as what I was able to find to the interview, which is Kristen Welker, who's the person who interviewed Donald Trump, but not an interview, but took this call.
President Trump called me this morning. We discussed a range of topics, including the possibility of him serving a third term. He's joked about it.
I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure.
But these were his most extensive comments.
That's not.
I've raised a lot of money for the next race that I assume I can't use for myself, but I'm not 100% sure.
But
I mean, that's not. I don't even know if that's hinting. I don't know. Well, I don't know why he would raise money for a future term. And maybe he's talking about leftover campaign funds, which, true, you can't use for personal use. You can only use it for campaign use. So he'd have to find a way to free those funds. Running for president again would be the only way to free those funds, basically.
these were his most extensive comments, yet he told me he's not joking. He said there are methods by which you could do it, but he said it's far too early to think about it. He said he's focused on his current job. At the same time, I did press him on those methods. There's been some discussion about the possibility of Vice President J.D. Vance running perhaps at the top of the ticket with President Trump running in the number 2 slot and then swapping if they were to win.
I don't know if that's allowed either. I don't know if that would work, because the thing is you can't have more than 2 terms under the Constitution. You can't. So you'd have to either change the Constitution, which is one of the methods being mentioned here, or what else would it? Yeah, that's the only way, actually, because I'm pretty sure that if you become president by way of your being the vice president and the person at the top of the ticket no longer being president through whatever means that might be, resignation, getting killed or dying or whatever, one way or the other, I think it would still count as another term.
Trump telling me that is a method. He said there are other methods. I asked if he could give me details, and he said flatly no. Now, President Trump's allies have said that they are seriously looking at this.
We're working on there. We're not prepared to talk about it publicly, but in a couple of months, I think we will be.
Here's what
I do not like Steve Bannon. That dude is, I think, probably one of the most harmful forces for the right in general, because he gets the right wing to do things that are very like misinformed or just like distracting from what the right wing should be focused on. Particularly the MAGA wing, and I think that drags the whole political right down. I do not like Steve Bannon. I think generally most things that come from Steve Bannon's corner of conservatism are bad news.
Here's what you need to know, though. It is incredibly complicated to change the Constitution. Serving a third term is prohibited by the Constitution. So this is something that would be far out of reach by any measure. And again, President Trump insisting for right now, he's focused on his current job.
Now, if I'm going to take what he's saying here at face value, it seems to me that Trump wants to have a third term, but if other people can't make it happen, like if you can't change the Constitution to make it happen or whatever, he's not going to push too hard for it, right? Like, the blue anon conspiracy theory is that Trump is going to by any means necessary just stay president until he dies and basically be like the king of America, right? That's the blue anon conspiracy theory, and that's why folks are pretty frantic whenever they see things like, I think even Seymour, I don't know if I'd call Seymour frantic on this one, but that's why he was so concerned, is because out of the blue anon corner, the conspiracy theory is that Trump is going to do whatever he can to get a third term. Now, these news organizations are, they're being a lot more honest, right? Because they're saying here, right, that, he said he was joking about wanting a third term. NBC News says doesn't rule out seeking a third term. ABC News also says doesn't rule out a third term. So not ruling it out and being interested in it doesn't mean that he's actively planning on doing it. He actually said that he's not actively planning out those methods. Steve Bannon and folks like him are the ones who are planning out those particular methods. And we could go into all of this, but I don't think we need to. We saw the closest thing that there is to the interview with NBC News. But I guess the question is, should Donald Trump take a third term? I think if people can make it happen, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for him to take a third term. Now, I will say that at that point, I would have concerns about Donald Trump's mental and physical health, because I would estimate that around the time when Trump would take a third term, like in 2028, his health would be about where Joe Biden's health was kind of just before he took office in 2020. So especially by the end of a third term, I would be concerned as to whether or not Trump can coherently speak all the time and recall everything that he needs to recall on command. Right now, we're already seeing like some of that a little bit, not like too much, but just like sort of losing trains of thoughts and things. Not anything too serious as of yet, but I think that that's something to consider negatively. Now, if the Heritage Foundation people or whatever, who are the types of people who would do something like this, if they are going to remove term limits altogether, I think that'd be disastrous. I think optimally, you would not change the term limit thing at all. You would just say 2 years, that's it. Sorry, not 2 years. You would say 2 terms, that's it. But if that's not what you're willing to do, I would say at least set a firm term limit, a new one, like 3 terms, right? Set that and then stick to it, because if you leave it open-ended, then you do get a situation where someone could be president for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 terms, depending on how popular you are, and that's not great. Now, I also have seen the people on the left somewhat excited about this because, or maybe they're just joking and making memes, but I have seen them on the left being somewhat excited about this because they're like, oh, well, this could potentially mean that Barack Obama could run for president again, which, like, by the way, Barack Obama versus Donald Trump would literally be like the all-star game of American politics. Like, we're talking about the two most popular and probably most liked living presidents of the United States, former or current, on both the left and the right. Barack Obama is extremely popular. He's extremely charismatic. He actually didn't damage the country too much as president of the United States, unlike what some on the right said that he would do. And Donald Trump is extremely popular on the right. There are many people who like him, and he's just only getting more popular by the day. So I would be fascinated to see how this goes. It would be very much like, I don't know, seeing like LeBron and Jokic like doing a 1v1 in basketball, like playing 21 together. Like, I would pay good money to see that. I would also pay good money. I'd also pay good money to see Donald Trump go up against Barack Obama. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. All right. I do want to go ahead and zip through the next section here so that I can go ahead and get started on XDEFIANT. By the way, once I finish this next segment and we hop into XDEFIANT, I'll be taking in TTSs. So if you guys want to send things in the chat, the TTS will be on after this next segment, and I'll answer your guys' questions there. So I wanted to go through some comments that I was getting on my YouTube channel recently, because I do get these comments here and there, and I don't often respond to them, but I'm starting to get some more comments, so I want to make sure that I address people's questions. Here, let me see here. I just want to go through some of these. Let's see, maybe this. Okay, I think this probably covers all the videos where I have comments. We've heard a lot from here. Let me see. Do I have comments on this one? Oh yeah, okay. So we've got this one. These are comments on my video called "Why I Think This Man Is the Left's Only Chance to Have Their Own Joe Rogan," and I'm talking about Stephen A. Smith here in this video, and why I think that he's going to be the next Joe Rogan. So I got some comments down here. One says, this is by Alyssa Spanish Fork. It says, as a lifelong Democrat, Stephen A. Smith will never be the voice that represents me. Stephen A. Smith, a man who has had a 20-year relationship with Sean Hannity. Now, I will say this. The political opinions of someone like this are, I don't want to be mean, but the opinions of someone like this they're politically irrelevant, because someone like this, they're going to just consistently vote blue no matter who, right? They're just gonna keep on checking that box until they die, right? So someone like that, who's like so far gone to the point right here where he's saying that she is not going to trust someone who is friends with Sean Hannity, just friends with Sean Hannity, someone who's that far gone, I don't think it matters pushing that person's needle. And it's the needle push, the people whose needles can, the people who push the needles, people whose needles can be pushed. Either way, those types of folks are the ones who are sort of malleable by folks like Joe Rogan. And this is why folks like Joe Rogan matter and are important. And also Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen A. Smith is going to move the needle on some people, but not Alyssa Spanish Fork, which is completely fine. The fact that she isn't represented by Stephen A. Smith does not matter at all. Now, here's something it says here. This is by Mia Juventino 88. Says, the only issue is that Joe Rogan doesn't aim to shape his viewer's mind. He lets his guests speak free, and we, the listener, get to make our mind up. That's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. We can look this up. Actually, if we look up Joe Rogan, Sanjay Gupta, we look this up right here, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, but like very clearly this is not what happened when Joe Rogan did this.
But so for you, Joe Rogan,
yes,
I would say you've had it.
Yes.
So now get one shot of the vaccine.
No.
Why not?
Because I have better immunity than I would if I was vaccinated. Right?
Yes.
Don't I?
I think your immunity is really good.
So why, if I've already gotten through COVID and I was really only sick for a day, and then 5 days later I was negative, and I do have the natural antibodies now, why would I take a chance in getting vaccinated on top of that?
By the way, I'm glad you're better. I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication.
Oh, yeah.
We should talk about
Right
that.
here.
It bothered you.
It should bother you too. They're
well,
lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for veterinary.
Calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not.
Now, if we're going to be honest here, Joe Rogan's being truthful. He's right. But at the same time, if we're going to be honest, we're going to be fair, he is aiming to shape his viewers' minds, right? His one of his messaging is that with COVID-19, you don't necessarily need to take a vaccine. If you can get natural antibodies, just do that, and then you're good. And some of the aggressive pro-vaccination rhetoric was harmful and not helpful. That's pushing a message on his viewers. So not entirely accurate to say that he doesn't aim to shape his viewers' minds there. MJ says, I think the big issue with Rogan is the absurd bias some of his guests have in not challenging the same positions people have. I think when you have a biased selection leads to people having biased results. I will say that's not entirely his fault because he invites left-wingers onto a show. Bernie Sanders goes on the Joe Rogan Experience all the time. It's just that left-wingers are, because left-wing political culture is extremely more cultish than right-wing political culture. So, and because of that cultish nature, they're like, well, I don't want to be friends with someone who's on the right? This person here is actually saying it here. Man has a 20-year friendship with Sean Hannity. But a lot of people who are on the left won't even go on the Joe Rogan Experience, right? Because of that sort of like cult-like culture. So there's that to factor in. But also, I mean, one thing is Joe Rogan's on, I don't know if Joe Rogan's on the right entirely, necessarily. He leans right. But if you lean right or on the right, you're going to be more forgiving of the extremist positions on the right than you would be on the left, and vice versa, right? So I think that is somewhat natural. But I'm not arguing that Joe Rogan is neutral. That's not my whole point in this video at all. Ramen3 at ADS says, case in point, you think he doesn't when he absolutely does. LOL. I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of fair. I kind of made that same point a few minutes ago. Okay, so now we've got some comments here on the Dr. Disrespect video. This one got me a bunch of hate. I don't know. I guess we had some toddlers in the chat on this one, but it says here, eating on mic is the last thing people want to listen to. Can't watch your video because of that. Please don't eat on mic. I was like, okay, honestly, respect. That's fair. I was even listening to it back on the audio, and yeah, I'm not going to do that again. That was not smart. That was not wise. Yes sir daddy says, what's your stance, big fella? I'm personally confused by Doc's reaction. It's still unclear to me. He acts as if it's not what it seems, but he never clears it up. And also, based on what I've read and seen several places, Twitch is rampant with this stuff, but Twitch had bad actors, and the person texting was planted. Interesting. If you won the case against him, legally it's unclear. I think the blowback on this has so much to do with the fact that he's not a beta. Okay, dude. And his persona is so loud, so every beta white knight latches onto it. I still watch Doc. I'm still surprised he's married, so that's also an interesting fact. First of all, I do want to say some people stay married for the kids, so there's that as well. Also, like, if you're in love with someone, right, which I would presume that Dr. Disrespect's wife is in love with him, I would hope so, that you're more forgiving of someone that you love. So there's probably a bit of that as well. Also, you've got to factor into the fact that Dr. Disrespect actually never met up with anybody, right? He was just talking with a minor, and the messages were inappropriate. That's pretty much all that we know, for sure, because it's the only thing that's been corroborated by both sides, right? The anti-Doc people, or the allegations against them, have been that it was somewhat serious, the nature of the conversations, and Dr. Disrespect was that it was all jokes. So there's no proof, right? So it's sort of like, because they're not sending or publishing the whisper chat, so it's sort of he said, she said there. My stance is basically that Dr. Disrespect is bad news. The way that he responded to the whole situation, maybe it's because he's trying to uphold his persona, but at the end of the day, first of all, you shouldn't be inappropriately messaging people, especially people that you don't know, you haven't met in real life. I think what's his name, Ruslan, or Zach Spraza, one of the two, on the Bless God channel, he was literally like, I don't want to, like, talking about dating and being like, I don't want to be texting someone and find out that they're 15. Like, you know, right? If you know someone in person, it's a lot easier to verify their age and all that stuff. But also, just inappropriate messaging is unwise, because stuff like this could happen. Even if someone ends up being of age, you know, people can still lie about you and it still hurts your brand and stuff. So messaging people underage, not wise, not smart. Messaging people inappropriately underage, not wise, not smart. It's hard to say whether or not, right, he's like a he's not like us, shall we say, based on what we know so far. But it doesn't make him look good, right? I mean, what types of people are going to have inappropriate conversations with minors, right? Probably someone who's kind of sus. So not looking good for Doc, but I'm not gonna lie and act like we for sure know concretely that Dr. Disrespect is in fact a Discord moderator. So that's my stance on it. You know, sorry if it's not black and white enough for you, right? Sorry if it's not team red or team blue enough for you, but I can only go with the information that we have so far. What else do we have? So there was this. Oh, all these comments. I forgot I had so many comments on this. How come only 3 are showing up when I have 4? The eggs at my stores are all the same prices. Okay, I was talking about nationwide. That's not particular places in that video. I actually do remember in somewhere in that article actually saying a spot saying, oh, there's some places where the cost of eggs is double the average, right? But that's not national. Sorry. Mr. Pizza in the chat says, oh, yeah, that's right. Dr. Disrespect is a pred. I forgot about that. I don't know that for sure. All we know is that he had an inappropriate conversation with the minor. I don't know what the nature of that is, because you can have an inappropriate conversation with a minor with like inappropriate jokes, right? You know, I would say, like, if you're sending someone like a minor, like, I don't know, edgy Adult Swim clips in their DMs, that would be inappropriate, but that wouldn't necessarily make you a predator, right? So, you know, I don't like to throw around accusations like that unless we know that for sure. So that's kind of why I'm hedging my wording there. Micker, they got me. I try not to curse on here. 9830 said, so I don't eat eggs. Oh, no one needs to eat eggs. I mean, a large bag of chips is $7 now. I'm hoping that what you're not saying here is that you're going to replace eggs with chips. I hope that's not what you're saying here. I would say that eggs is a far richer source of protein than chips. I think would be the best way to put that. But yes, and actually, this is actually something that was mentioned in the article, right? I think in another article I read in a more recent video as well, was people are saying I'm not going to buy eggs because people can afford to hold the line and be like, I'm just going to buy eggs. I'm not going to eat the bugs. So yeah, people going to go buy other stuff. They're going to eat Soylent, whatever. Chickpeas. If you see this video, please let me know how to pronounce your name. It says, I can't wait for Trump to claim ownership of this natural market correction as he always does. I actually did a video about him doing that. Big Daddy 4691 says, the egg shortage was 100% manufactured by the media. By the media? I'm sorry, but did Jake Tapper go and give a bunch of chickens the bird flu? What? Did MSNBC will the bird flu epidemic into existence? I don't even know how you get to this conclusion that the media manufactured the egg shortage, because the egg shortage was literally real. Like, if you look into the statistics, I think the article I went through in this video sort of, you know, dived into the numbers and how, you know, eggs are being killed. Like, Joe Biden killed chickens because they had the bird flu. That's not manufactured by the media. That's fact. That's true. That's not manufactured by the media. It says egg production literally drops every winter due to the fact that chickens naturally lay less during the winter. Bro, in the video, they literally say that it was like record low numbers of like chickens or eggs or something. Like record low numbers for egg production. You don't get record numbers generally by things that happen naturally all the time. Generally speaking. And especially if to take into account that the records that were broken here were records that have been held since the last time there was a bird flu. So very clearly this is caused by the bird flu. This wasn't caused by the media. And I don't think it wasn't even caused by Joe Biden. It was just caused by a combination of the bird flu and how we have to respond to that. So it says here, the BS says it's happening. The idiot consumers run out and increase demand because they're morons. I keep buying what I need from my neighbor who hasn't raised their prices since their chickens have been laying eggs. Okay. Now, of course, if this is not affecting you, of course, you're more likely to think that it's fake. A 10-pound bag of chicken leg quarters is still less than $1 a pound, you idiots. Well, probably because demand for chicken legs is not as high as demand for eggs. More people buy eggs than chicken legs, I believe. Oh, in the chat, Mr. Pizza says the eggs are king food. The guy was 100% a fat Reddit mod saying that comment. Reddit mod behavior. Maybe, but actually, I don't think so. I don't think so because the person says, I keep buying what I need from my neighbor who hasn't raised her prices even though chickens have been laying eggs. So I think this person lives in a rural area who's like, well, her chickens are fine. What are you talking about? Which is not something a Reddit mod would ever say, right? Which is like, I buy eggs from my neighbor. Reddit moderators don't do that. Recipe says eggs are expensive here, but I still eat 3 a day every day. Based, awesome. I'm glad you're doing that because, especially since you are working out, right? Because that's gonna help you build muscle.
We've got some news here.
In this video says, hold on, let me see. Do I have any comments under this one? No comments under this one. Okay, so I think that basically covers all the feedback that I had received. So for the last thing, let's see. Okay, for the last thing before we start XDEFIANT, Mr. Pizza said this here. He has a trailer for PWS. Now, PWS is a wrestling series, and he has chosen to include me in PWS. So, PWS, it's not just any old wrestling series. It's a basically CPU versus CPU simulation of wrestling. And I think the most recent 2K WWE video game, he records them, commentates over them. I believe he does like casting for them, and then posts them online in the form of a tournament. A lot of them are like custom characters and things. So it's kind of cool. But I'm going to be included in the next season. Is that Queso? Wait, is that Queso? Queso, yo, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Caitlyn Jenner? I don't know. Is that Emiru? That looks like Emiru, but also this video is very blurry. Who is that? Is that the Angry Canadian? Who's that? Oh, is that Charlie White? It'd be so funny if that was Charlie White, bro. I don't know who these people are. Who are they? I'm gonna need an introduction. I'm gonna need some lore videos to break down who all these people are. Oh, Baron Brett, that's cool. Who is this? Hey, let's go. Bro, those are clothes I would wear too. That's great. The alien? Oh wait, has this already been recorded? Okay. If this has been recorded, that's kind of cool too. Now I'm interested to see who ends up winning. That's cool. The Indian comedian, I guess. That's cool. I've seen some PWS, but I haven't seen anything on a setup like this before. So maybe they changed something in the latest game. Who's that baby? Oh. Who is that? Let's go. That's a good custom character for me. This is cool. Wait, are those? Is that Smosh? Is that Smosh? The only reason I'm guessing is because of the tie over t-shirt and the terrible haircut. Looking like Fred out here. Ooh. Yo, this is cool. This is actually hype. Dude, that's cool. That's cool. Wait, hold on. Let me see. How long does PD? Well, I'll look this up later. But I'm curious as to like how long PWS usually lasts. I would love to react to every match from that tournament, or at least the ones that I'm in. That'd be really fun to do. That's a nice video, Mr. Pizza. You did a good job of hyping up the event. And also thanks for sending it to me as well. If there's anyone I got wrong, as far as like who's who, like let me know in the Discord server because I'm curious now for some of these people. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the TTS and play a little bit of XDEFIANT, probably only like for like 30 minutes or so. But I want to log some time into that game, rip that game, man. I really do hope that Siege X is at least a little bit like XDEFIANT. Actually, I kind of want to look this up and see if the XDEFIANT community does plan on switching to Siege X. The reason I'm mentioning Siege X as a successor to XDEFIANT is because
Mr. Pizza,
they're both made by Ubisoft. So
said in the chat. BTW, the two females are DJLL aka Lily and Yuki, who's from an anime.
Oh,
David Studio Animations.
I have not
said
seen.
in the chat. I was originally here for the Mark Carney news.
Oh, I'm not going to have time to cover the Mark Carney news today, unfortunately. I'll have to do that on another stream later on in the week.
David Studio pops in to see himself in the trailer.
That's cool. But yeah, I haven't seen DJLL her like videos or whatever in a long time. She hasn't been active in the bread game community, so maybe that's why I didn't recognize her immediately. Well, hold on, let me look this up. Siege X versus XDEFIANT. Because I'm just curious if like XDEFIANT players plan on playing Siege. I'm actually not seeing any information about that. But to be fair, no one's heard of XDEFIANT. So that might be part of it.
David Studio Animations said in the chat. At Mr. Pizza LMAO. I was still here for the news of the upcoming Canadian election though.
When is the election, by the way? What day is that happening? And by the way, Ubisoft Studios is
David
still
Studio
loading,
Animations said in the chat.
Yeah, Ubisoft Connect.
At Mr. Pizza, your stuff just happened to pop into here.
I mean, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. But yeah, I mean, it was mentioned in the Discord server. We will be reacting to it, so I mean, the lore is.
Mr. Pizza said in the chat. I'd love to see No Newbie react to every PWS episode. That'd be sick. I mean, the lore gets really good, especially in season 2. I
didn't know there was actual lore. That's kind of cool. I had no idea there was actual lore. You do the casting, right? Like you commentate over the matches.
David Studio Animations said in the chat. Mark Carney did call a snap election for Canada on April 28th.
What's the point of me checking keep me logged in if I don't stay logged in? Like, I'm pretty sure I checked keep me logged in last time. Mark Carney did call a snap election for Canada on April 28th. Oh, okay, so I've got some time to catch up on everything. But I believe he's basically the replacement for
Mr. Pizza
Trudeau.
said in the chat. I've been watching Solo Leveling Season 2 today. Easily hands down my favorite anime right now.
Interesting. Popular anime that's only in season 2. I would have never thought that I would live to see the day. Actually, I did live to see the day with Spy Family. But interesting. Well, the barrier of entry is about as low as it's gonna get, right? So maybe I gotta hop to it. What are you watching it on? Is it like a particular streaming service that it's on? Is it like on Amazon or something? Starting Battle Eye service. Oh, I just realized I forgot to fix the. I ever since I've reset my computer, I keep getting this message. I don't know
David
why.
Studio Animations said in the chat. Yeah, he replaced Trudeau, and so far, at least for me, he seems promising.
I lost my train of thought there.
Mr. Pizza said in the chat. Yet I record, edit, and commentate PWS. I 9/10 play as all the characters involved for story, and my desired outcome.
Oh, I see. So it's rigged. Wait, you're telling me the wrestling isn't real? Bruh. I had no idea. You're telling me the fights are rigged? But now that I know that you have lore and stuff, like I'm very curious to see how that all is designed to shake out. What is going on with what's going on with the game? Okay, Battle Eye launcher's up. Okay, there we go. I wish I could just get myself a new computer, man. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Come on, load. I don't have a ton of time to play this game. Why is the audio acting weird? Another thing I've noticed
Mr.
is
Pizza said in the chat.
Oh, man, hold on.
Baron Brett got me more into other types of anime as well. So W Brett.
Man, it's gonna have that thing where the audio quality's bad, isn't it? Yeah. Oh man, I meant to fix this. It's gonna be so frustrating for me playing. I'm gonna be a bad mood the whole time I'm playing this game. Because it screws up the audio by default and I have to work manually to fix it. Because I'm using Bluetooth, it's punishing me. Wait, actually, hold on. Wait a second. Can I fix it just by changing audio outputs? No, that's not it.
Mr. Pizza said in the chat. Currently working on a 100 days in Minecraft video as well. That's gonna be the next upload.
Ah, that's cool. Do you play a lot of Minecraft? Oh, so painful to my soul, this audio quality. Look at how they massacred my boy. You guys probably can't tell the difference, but bro, it sounds like I'm on hold, like with a bank or something. Let me see if I can fix this in the settings real quick.
Mr. Pizza said in the chat. I'll have to come on and talk to Giga Chad Newsby again soon for sure though.
Oh yeah, It'd be nice, like, after the PWS stuff is over, to go over that stuff with you. That'd be neat. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this with the audio settings. If we go to more sound settings, because I have fixed this before. Hold on. How do I change? There we go. Okay. There's like, what is it, like a services thing or something?
Mr. Pizza said in the chat, I took the whole weekend off from working on YouTube videos. Can't always run myself into the ground, LMAO.
True. And that's the way to go, honestly. And that's why I didn't do the video, do a video on Friday, because the video I wanted to upload, it was gonna be super long. It would have taken a long time for me to edit and stuff, and I was like, I would run myself into the ground. I would run myself into the ground if I was to do this. So, let's see, driver. There's a way you can look into like the audio services or something. Any of you guys familiar with the whole audio services thing? Hold on. Oh wait, I remember how to get to this. If I go to devices, more devices and printer settings, in here, go to properties, services, there we go. I think that would fix it, right? Yeah, there we go, that fixed it. Nice, okay. Let's see, I'm gonna leave that lobby. I'm gonna do, what's the important update? Okay, yeah, I knew that already. Play menu. Yeah, let's do unranked. Mr. Business, how many audio inputs you got?
Mr. Pizza said in the chat, how many audio outputs do you got, my GXD?
I have too many because this has like a line out, like a something you can put headphones in and use it as an audio output. So this has an audio output. This has an audio output. One of these monitors has an audio output, even though it doesn't have speakers. And then of course the computer has an audio output as well. And I think there's like a duplicate listing for computer audio output for some reason. So yeah, kind of crazy. I have too many for sure. But it's wild that like the audio quality by default is screwed up on Bluetooth unless you fix it manually by turning off the hands-free telephony. and then you have to switch the audio output to something else, and then back to
Mr.
the
Pizza said in the chat,
That's it.
I got one audio output, that's it.
Yeah, and that's not a bad way to go, to be honest. Man, people keep on leaving this lobby. I think I'm gonna contribute to the problem. Here, let's just do unranked. That was easy. I figured that this would be the one that would start to get filled because it's the first one, so people are just gonna click play to get going into the game. Oh, a bunch of people left. Then a bunch of people joined. Searching for 3 more players. Searching for 7 more players. But yeah, the my whole audio setup in this room is a little bit more complicated than the average audio setup, I think, because like I've got the earbuds thing on the computer, which complicates things. Using wireless earbuds is a little bit more complicated on Windows than just using built-in headphones. But also, I have a wired speaker over there that's plugged into a switch, an audio switch. And the audio switch has 3 inputs. It has the computer, my TV, and then my Amazon Echo device. So I have to, like, if I want this audio from this computer to go to the speakers, I have to turn off my earbuds. If I want, and then go over to the switch and turn it. I don't have to do anything for the TV or the Echo device though to get the sound to go through there. I just have to turn the switch to the right output. But I don't know if this is like a bad setup for my audio
Mr.
system,
Pizza
but
said in
the
the
nice
chat,
thing about it is it does simplify
my
the output.
PC has Bluetooth.
It
It also
simplifies the
refuses to
output
recognize
because
anything.
it makes everything go through one speaker, theoretically. And that is nice and convenient. So this PC says my PC is Bluetooth. It also refuses to recognize anything. Refuses to recognize anything and we're playing nice with your devices are 2 very different things. My computer recognizes stuff. It just doesn't play nice with stuff. But man, it'd be nice to see someone make a free open source clone of this game. This is a fun map. And none of you guys get to play this game because you didn't download it for free when I told you. And now you can get it at all. Seem to be dead sec. Hey, I'll use the assault preset.
Occupy. A battle to the death for control of roughly 80 square meters. 3, 2, 1. Take the capture zone from the goons. Keep out, said goons. Grenado! Capture zone contested. Capturing.
Oh, I didn't know that he was coming up there. Oh, instant response. That's cool. Nice. Low TTK helps me because I'm not that good at shooting games. Oh.
Capture zone contested. Capture zone is changing location.
Oh. Man, it's a hot spot.
Frag out!
Oh.
Zone in jeopardy. We're capturing.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I got most of his HP too. Oh.
Human life is without purpose or reward. Capture zone relocating.
Procs deployed.
Zone imperiled.
Yikes. I feel like I'm not helping. Oh. Come on, come on, come on. You can't lose that.
Capture zone.
Oh, man. That was a tough one. That was a tough one. Okay, I did get the points for the damage assist, so that's nice. Ah, man. The movement that he was doing made it difficult. Our team is not doing well. Boo for the camping, right? Like, what happened to good old-fashioned American sportsmanship? Got a lot of assists though. Oh! Yeah! Oh! Okay, okay. I may hate the player, but I'm not gonna hate the game. Oh, nice. I helped the team capture the. Oh, so that's cool.
Capture zone is changing location.
Oh wow, it's actually very even.
Imperiled.
Wow, we're actually very even. I thought for some reason we were getting blown out of the water, but we were actually winning for a second there. Maybe I shouldn't have been standing right in the lane. That was probably not wise.
Zone in jeopardy.
Are you kidding me?
Dispatched.
Dealt him a lot of damage there.
Capturing.
Oh man.
Capture zone relocating.
Ooh. Ah, man, that motion got me messed up.
Capturing zone. Engaging camel. Need a dock here. Throwing frag. Capture zone contested.
Ooh.
Grenade out. Zone in jeopardy.
Oh.
Capture zone relocating.
Come on, come on, come on.
Procs deployed.
Oh. The only thing I don't like about those zones is that they're very wide open. So they're not easy to defend. I guess on one hand, that's a benefit because they're easy to defend. It makes it really hard to attack. And I've seen this happen in Halo before, where it's like you've got an area that's super hard to attack, and so whoever gets there first basically wins. Not good. Oh, but on the other hand, when you've got a place that's so hard to defend, it's very hard for a team to maintain dominance. Oh, I think we did a really good job of holding that zone. Oh. Uh, 1v3 was not wise. It was not wise.
Zone imperiled. Capture zone contested.
Oh. Okay, we're winning. We've got a sizable lead here. We don't have a lot to worry about.
Capturing zone. Capture zone at risk.
Ooh.
Take the zone.
Yeah, what is it Mandela says though? Like future favors the bold or whatever, so.
Capturing zone. Zone in jeopardy.
One thing I will say is that I guess it makes sense that we can't run through each other, but it is a little bit annoying because sometimes, like I'm trying to get to the zone, but like the other my teammate's trying to get to the zone too. And so, if we're both trying to get at it, then we could bump into each other and both hurt our chances. See?
It's capturing. That's a homicide.
Oh, we traded. That's crazy. Okay.
Capture zone at risk. Capturing.
Deployed.
Zone is moving.
Oh.
Ultra ready. Zone is contested. Ultra zone imperiled.
Mine destroyed.
Capturing.
Oh. Honestly, I should have got him.
Move.
So I was like one step behind
Risk.
every single second of the way. Oh, I would have had that dude if that other person didn't go and shoot me.
Try talking out your differences.
My foes revealed.
In the real war figurative sense.
I love how low the TTK is. It makes the game so much more fast paced.
Ultra ready.
It's not just that the TTK is low, by the way, but it's that
Ready to go.
it's even. It's not like you get all your damage at once, like with some games like in Fortnite,
Entering zone.
where it's like you can just get all your damage after getting shot like once or twice.
Fantastic.
It's like
Zone on the move.
you use an AR and you shoot, like it automatically gets the limb for you. What in the world? Why did I say until then? It doesn't make any sense. Like, until when? Like, no, just like until next time. Peace out.